Good afternoon. Welcome to my daily broadcast. My name is Barry Selby, and let's do the intro first. I am a best-selling author, speaker, and relationship attraction expert, and help strong, successful women find balance in love, life, and business. And I'm also a passionate champion for the divine feminine. I'm doing an ongoing series of daily Facebook Live talks. This is number 250. Yes, it's a milestone. Yay, milestone. Number 250, an ongoing series of talks called Messages from the Masculine to Inspire the Feminine Heart. And apart from the first 30 or so, which were weekly, this is daily. So this is number 250. So I've got lots of content for you to watch, so enjoy that when you get to it. So the topic today is one of these big topics. So it sounds simple, but it has a lot of power to it. So let's get into this, shall we? And again, these are called Messages from the Masculine to Inspire the Feminine Heart. Every day I'm doing talks on love relationships, masculine and feminine polarity, helping you get what you want in life and love and purpose, all sorts of fun stuff like that. If you want to find out more about my work, you can go to my website. You can also look on my business page, and I'll tell you about that at the end of the broadcast. Because I want to keep you interested. Test drive, see what it's like. So, in the dating, while you are dating, I should say when you are dating, I put the title as No Means What, because there seems to be some mystery about those two letters. It's going to sound so obvious when I say this, but if you watch people around in the dating world, and I've definitely witnessed quite a few, and I've had a lot of people who are clients and friends confide in me their confusion. Because when they say no, they don't mean it. Or I should say, when they say no and their partner doesn't respect it, they yield to whatever their partner wants. And that's very disrespectful for themselves. So I'm going to say this up front in the bluntness, but I'll get into some of the reasons why so you have some understanding. So no means no. I mean, is that black and white? And I'm not just talking about the metoo conversation, because that's become very big, obviously, and that's part of the movement that's happening now, thank God, and it's changing the platform and the relationship between men and women, which is great. And this applies in every relationship format. I mean, it applies to every part of life too. But I'm using the relationship context because that's the most volatile, the most emotionally impactful, and the most troubling for most people who are watching this. Just the way it is. So, no means no. If that's the truth, which I would think it is, why is it that some of you out there, not everybody, but some of you out there, don't know that when you say no, the other person should respect that? I'll get to that in a second. The dance that we have with, how do I say this? The dance with truth that we have, where we are not willing to hold true to what we think is right, comes down to, for a lot of people, not everybody, for a lot of people, that they don't believe that their word has impact or that their word means something because they've been trained in their upbringing, I guess I'm breaking it down right now, that other people's opinions are more important than theirs. Now, you may know somebody like this. I'm sure it's not you, but you may know somebody like this who's been through this, who's done this. And you watch them sacrifice their own self-respect and their own self-care because somebody else said something more convincing that they gave up their no. Now, obviously, this is not just the word no I'm talking about. This is a whole way of being and respecting and honoring ourselves, which many people don't know how to do. And as I mentioned, as I hinted at just now, for a lot of people, that is something that came from history. That and several of my clients, I'm speaking as a composite versus one individual, just so we're clear that I'm not outing anybody here. But I know I know a client, I'll call it generically versus several together, who was raised in a family where her views were always overridden, where her ability to stand up for herself and to not only declare her truth, but have it received, was absent. So her experience was, if she said anything, it had no validity in the environment she was in, which is a family. Fast forward 20 years to being an adult, and her programming, and I've talked about this before, about the elephant and the string analogy. We talked about it a few days ago. You can watch that broadcast if you want to catch up on that. But the programming she took on, because she was convinced at a young age that her word did not have impact, meant that when some guy asked her out and starts making advances on her, when she says no, first of all, he's not listening. But second, he's not convinced because she doesn't believe what she's saying. Now, I've got to be careful here. I want to make sure you get that I'm not talking about how she is somehow to blame for something like that happening. No. What I'm saying is her programming is limiting her ability to take control. It's also influencing her decisions so she doesn't stand her ground. And so she acquiesces. She allows in what she doesn't really want. But because her programming has trained her personality to be default into a secondary or subservient role, she'll let him take advantage. Now, this is not true for all. There are men who step over the bounds regardless of how strong that woman is. That's another story entirely, which is basically rape. But this conversation, I wouldn't necessarily say this is what the Aziz Ansari's story is about. There might be some of that playing out in his accuser's history. I don't know. But I know with many women out there who've been through, especially who are actually a bit older, because they're raised in families where women weren't respected as much and were, to be blunt, put down, that taking ownership as an adult is harder. Because you've been trained for first 2, 3, 5, 10 years of your life that your opinion doesn't count, that your word has no value because the adults around you have a deaf ear to what you're saying and have their own opinion, which is always overrides yours. The unfortunate thing is, as kids, we, I include myself in this, take on a lot of our programming by observing how things happen. Not by consciously choosing to witness things and say, oh, that's the way it is, but subconsciously, automatically filed into our subconscious are these laws and rules about how life is because of the way that our environment taught us. This is the thing about nature versus nurture. The way we are raised has greater impact on who we become than the environment that we're in. Physical environment, I mean. So, it brings us back to the no means no, or the no means what, as the title says. We as adults, when we have the inkling of an awareness, may suddenly understand that what happened in the last 5 relationships, or 3, that was 3 in my case, of a different experience, but the 3 repeat patterns to know this. If you look back, let me say it this way, look back at your previous relationships, if you've had more than 1 or 2 in the last 20 years. If you've had a few shorter term relationships or sequential relationships, do yourself a favor. Notice, if you step back far enough and see all of them in a row, despite the differences, what are the commonalities you saw that were negative or limiting in those relationships? For example, did each of those, for the ladies, did each of those men treat you the same way every time, even though they had no relationship to each other? Did you end up getting the same sort of arguments or language dynamics or any of those things? By having a longer view, as it were, by using binoculars and seeing all the different details of your past relationships, you may get clear and have a clue as to what is really running your choices. Because what is happening will keep happening unless you change it. This is the unfortunate truth about the way we work. If what's happened in the last 5 relationships is just becoming clear and you don't do anything to change it, guarantee your 6th one will be the same as the last 5. Yes, it will. Sorry about that. Because our wiring is programmed to bring in a certain type of partner, because we were programmed that way. This is the program I talked about before. So there's no means no peace, or no means what peace, can be part of that problem. Not always, but I'm just using that as an example. Because when you say no means no, how powerful do you stand in that truth? It's true for men and women, by the way. I'm reflecting on an experience I had myself in a relationship where my partner didn't take no for an answer. And I mean, it was hard for me to say no because I was like, she's giving me sex. Why should I say no? But I didn't feel aligned to it. And it was harder for me to step out because I was trained as the nice guy. So it's a different programming. But it wasn't based on the fact that I didn't have power in my word. I was just like, I've got to be nice to her. I had to put up with having sex. It's like, it sounds so hard done by, like joking. It's like, truth was though, I wasn't into it. But I didn't say no because I was trying to be the nice guy. So there are different choices, different programming, different influences that may override your belief in how strong your no is. So what to do about that? First, as I mentioned, take a long view at your past relationships. See the history, see the commonalities that happen in your past relationships. They'll probably give you a clue as to what is really in the way, about what's stopping you having what you want. When you do that, you have hopefully an awakening, an awareness, and a choice point that you can either go back to what you were doing, which you probably don't want to do, or going, I want to change that. Let me find someone who can help me. That's the first step. Second step is to find someone who can help you. Kind of obvious, I would say. If that's me, because it's work I do, or it's somebody else who does similar work, wherever you want geographically, or I do myself by virtual, by Skype and everything. So however you want to do that, I would seek out support. Because 90% of the time, changing your own programming is not an easy do-it-yourself job. It requires you having some help from outside. You probably hear on the microphone a lot of dogs outside. My housemate has a dog that she takes out with a guy who takes out a pack of dogs. So they're all out there barking at each other. In case you wonder what the noise is. Getting back on topic. So my advice to you, if you found this to be true for yourself, that you're not getting clarity, you're not standing in your truth, you're not owning your no, or anything else for that matter, is to get some guidance and support from somebody who can help you to reprogram and rewire yourself to own your power, so that when you say no, it means no, and nobody will violate it. That's true alignment and health and authority, and you deserve the power to do that. I think that gives that puts it together nicely. So, quick summary. If you're dealing with a no means what, or a no doesn't mean no for you, do some work. Do some self-investigation, look at your history, get help. If your no means no and it works, awesome. But unfortunately, most people, that's not true. And if you want support, you know where to find me. This is my daily Facebook Live, by the way, for those of you who haven't seen me before. It's number 250 in an ongoing series of daily talks about masculine and feminine polarity, relationships, and much more besides. They're called Messages from the Masculine to Inspire the Feminine Heart, because that's the direction these talks go in. Most of my audience is women and my clients. If you want help in the area of love and relationships, you know where to find me. You can find me through social media, or you can find me on my website, which is barryselby.com. And oh yes, I mentioned at the beginning, you can find all my broadcasts on my business page on Facebook, which is barryselby.author. Also on YouTube, which is my channel is my channel is Barry Selby. My playlist is Messages from the Masculine. And on my website, barryselby.com, there's a bunch of different things you can look at there, videos, and I invite you to check them out because they might just change your life. As always, when I finish up my broadcast, I invite you to take care of yourself, to honor and respect who you are, because you have to do it first before anybody else will. And with that, I remind you that love is the answer. Now what's the question? Sorry, it's Valentine's month, so my mind's about the love and stuff like that. I do have a Valentine's special I launched. If you want to know about that, reach out to me. I'm not going to tell you what it is, because this broadcast goes out in other places. I don't want to put any promotions in here directly. Or maybe I just did. Oops. All right, so if you want to have any questions or anything, please comment below this broadcast. I'll answer them when I get back off the broadcast. And take care of yourselves. I'll see you again tomorrow.